Hey, what's up, everyone? Morey here, and today we're doing a sprinting mechanics breakdown on Jordan Anthony, the 100 and 200 meter SEC champion, going more in depth into the things that he does really well in his sprinting mechanics to make him one of the fastest people in the entire world in 2025 and the fastest in the SEC. So we'll go and hop right into it here. And what really stands out to me during his acceleration is just like that side to side motion. So we got him hit right here. This is from the prelims of the SEC championship here, and we could just see similar to like that Xavier Worthy type of action where he's going kind of side to side with his head, with his body, gets a nice amount of head bob. And we can kind of compare with like Devontae Howell here, especially as he gets going, how he's just very much more kind of side to side and how his head's going to be moving. That allows you to be able to shift, I think, a little bit more power and allows you to generate more force in the ground when you get that side-to-side motion within the head, not only because of just the amount of force, because if your weight is shifting from one side to the other, it's going to make it so you just have more weight in general onto that side, but I think it also helps him being able to maintain relaxation, or it's a great way to show how relaxed the athlete is. Again, we can see here just not nearly as much of that side-to-side motion, and not to say that, you know, Hal is slow or doing anything particularly wrong. It's just, what is Jordan Anthony doing right? You know, what is Jordan Anthony doing that's way better that we could potentially utilize within our own sprinting mechanics? Now, when we look from the actual championship here, we can see that he ends up and you can definitely see when he gets more into his like top speed, that he doesn't get as much of a pull with his left arm. He gets much more range in his right arm as he's going back. And so that allows him to, we see this a lot with sprinters where there's like one side that's a lot more range there, but that means that he utilizes much more rotation in the spine within the left side. So there's going to be one side that is potentially more range in maybe the shoulder, where then the other side, you need to have more range within like the spine to be able to get the same amount of extension, okay? Because we end up needing to get extension on both sides as we're pulling back. That pull with the arms is critical. If you don't get this type of range within the arms on either side, you're just going to kill yourself when it comes to how much force you can generate in the ground. You have to be able to get a large amount of pullback within the arm to make it so then you can generate maximum force into the ground within the legs. If you don't have that, if you don't have the pull, then you just end up falling too far forward, kind of like a Christian Coleman type of a position. You know, I think that as time has gone on, especially if you look at like Usain Bolt and how he's landing a little bit out in front of him, and the reason is because he's able to generate a ton of pull, not only within the legs, but within the arms, to make it so now he's able to maintain that upright position. Once you start to limit the range that we're getting within the shoulders, then it's going to be a lot harder to land with the foot a little bit more out in front of you. Once you start landing with the foot right underneath the hip rather than slightly in front of the hip, that makes it so now you start kind of falling forward there, especially towards the end of the race. And I know Christian Coleman is very fast and might not necessarily be the greatest example when it comes to being able to pinpoint somebody that is not doing sprinting correctly, right? Because he's one of the fastest 60 meters of all time, or at the fastest 60 meter of all time, and does very, very well in the 100 as well. But it just gives, I think, a good comparison of what we want to be doing from an upright position perspective and having more control as we get to that last 20 meters in comparison to not having great control in the last 20 meters. And that's really the point to be made there. And so when we look to see Jordan Anthony, I think what stands out with him is, I mean, he's 5'10", and he is 160 pounds, and he runs 44 and a half steps for the 100 meters. So he does a great job of being able to pick up a lot of distance per step, especially for his height. Being able to get, and you can even see as he gets to the end of the race here, and this is what I love about watching his races, is he's very smooth as he gets to the end. He doesn't tighten up, he doesn't clench up, he maintains a lot of distance per step even as he's going through the end. And that is a great way to be able to finish, right? It's a great example of how you want to be able to control yourself as you're going through the finish. And again, I think a big part of that has to do with how much of that kind of side-to-side motion he has. You can see with the arms, he's going a little bit more side-to-side with that left one, right? That pull is a little bit more here, but then he straightens it out and pulls back. I love the knee position coming straight through. We see a lot of people as their knees are coming through, they'll start to be a little bit wide. We can see the right one is a little bit wider than the left one. Doesn't get as good a positioning there as he's coming through, but still really, really good with how he ends up striking the ground. That left leg cycle is excellent. Love how he gets that left knee right up and through, extends with that foot all the way out in front, and then really strikes the ground well. So you can see here, this is what we want, guys. Like, if you're watching this still and you want to be able to really see what ground strike should look like on the front side, look, we can see the under part of his foot. That's what's critical when it comes to striking the ground. We want to see that under part of the foot so then you can really pull back and be able to land with that leg straight. If we're not able to get that foot position up, then you're just not going to be able to generate the necessary force to be able to really run those elite level times and generate the elite amount of ground force. You have to be able to, one, create large amounts of ground force in the ground, and then be very quick to be able to react off of the ground still after you strike. Okay, so first thing is first is, though, you have to be able to have that hard amount of foot striking. If you don't have the amount of force into the ground at foot strike, then there's just no way that we're going to be able to be very successful when it comes to your sprinting mechanics. So my recommendation would be really make sure that we get a large amount of ground force and then be able to work on the reaction off of that ground force. You don't want to be just very reactionary or very quick off the ground without being able to generate very much force. Once you have a good amount of quickness, that's great to be able to build off of, but the force production into the ground is the most important when it comes to speed, and then you can kind of get the quickness off of that. So hopefully that makes sense to you guys. Hopefully you guys like the video. If you do, like and subscribe. Check out some of the things we have in the description down below in terms of ways to be able to get coached by us. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you soon.